Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday night. Your boys are here, and we are live. I am Dixie Dave, one half of your co-hosting team, with my co-host, Crusher Crossen.
And it is July 11th, 7 p.m. here anyway, but it's 9 p.m. Eastern. We always say 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. So, yeah, and it's a hot one. I don't know if it's hot over there, Dave, in Minnesota, but it was like 110 degrees here today. So I'm kind of glad to be inside the air conditioning right now.
I'm loving the indoors. I'm waiting until after the sun goes down to head outside.
Yeah. So another week, another live. It's always fun to go live. We love doing the live stuff and interacting with all you guys. And today, Dave, we're going to the infamous dungeon.
Oh.
Yes, the dungeon
when I see that ring.
Fred Moore Junior High. Yeah, it's funny because, like you said before, you think we've mentioned Fred Moore Junior High, right? And we think, like a gymnasium or some real cool setting. Yeah, that would have been nice, but no, we're down in the basement of the school in unfinished concrete, gloom and doom looking place.
Exactly. I mean, we were trying to be as professional as possible, and we got stuck in.
We were grateful, though, Dave. We were grateful for it because we had no place to go. And thankfully, Golden Gloves Boxing agreed to let us come in and use their ring.
And the thing was, we were in a functional, working ring. The only drawback to it is it didn't have any give to the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a boxing ring. It wasn't a wrestling ring by any means. And basically what we were wrestling on here, guys, was a step above, a side step from the garage. Because we're just going to one hard platform to another hard platform. Only this one was on concrete.
Yep. At least in the ring in the garage, that ring had a little give to it.
Yeah.
It was elevated.
Very little. And there was absolutely no padding on that thing.
Yeah.
In the garage. Just a thin layer of carpet underneath the tarp. That was it. But, as kids, you're resilient. You can take it. We didn't. Yep. No, I don't remember, Dave. I don't remember anybody complaining at the time in Fred Moore. Like nobody said, "Oh my gosh, this ring sucks."
No, we were all grateful to be able to hit the ropes, climb up to the top rope.
Yeah, I mean, it was just great to have use of the ring.
Yeah,
and
have use of a functional ring.
Right. I see a comment here from Sky Sports Video News. I'll bring this in here. And everybody feel free to comment and ask questions as we go here. Even when we start doing the watch long, we love taking your questions and comments. So, and that's what makes it fun for Dave and I to interact.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, commenting on something that we've talked about privately. This show could very easily be done pre-recorded. Mm-hmm. You just watch us yapping at each other.
Yep. Like most other podcasts do.
Yeah. But we love interacting with you guys.
Yep, and that was Dave's brainchild there. He came up with that idea of he specifically wanted to do it live. So that was a big thing for him. So Sky Sports Video News says, Crusher, I see you have been busy posting new and improved videos. I see your view counts are starting to go up all around. Yeah. What I've done, Sky Sports, is I'm starting to do, I've never did shorts before. And for those of you wondering, shorts have to be under 60 minutes. Shit. No, 60 seconds.
Yep.
And then it goes into the shorts category. And YouTube's kind of pushing that, like, to kind of compete with Instagram and all that stuff,
Right.
And what is it, like Snapchat and all that stuff? They do short kind of things. So what I do is I've got a program, I use Otis, and it lets me... It kind of automatically generates, it looks at the whole show we do, and it'll automatically generate interesting talking points and create these little nice shorts. And then I go through and fine tune them a little bit to make sure that the pictures, it's cropped right and everything. And yep. It makes these nice little short videos that we put in, and it all kind of helps, contribute to people watching the channel. So it's kind of a marketing kind of strategy is what we're doing there. That's what's going on with all the shorts.
And, while you're bringing up marketing strategy, I'm going to bring up something to our viewers, our fans, and our friends that you were discussing earlier with me.
Okay.
I'm doing this off the cuff, people. Crusher has no clue where I'm going with this. But Crusher and I were talking about something earlier today, and I want our viewers' perspective on it.
Okay.
You know, if it's possible, if it's at all possible for us to do, and Crusher's looking into it, what would you guys think of NWF wrestling action figures?
Yeah, the collector. We're not talking toys for the kids. We're talking like the collecting market. The ones that love collecting that kind of stuff. I think NWF action figures could be cool in a limited run, of course, because we're not going to sell that many. But it would be cool. I think it would be. Yeah, I'm curious what our viewers would think if they think NWF action figures would be a cool thing to do.
I'm sorry I didn't discuss it pre-show with you, but
fine. Like I said, it's not an easy. It's Dave knows that a little bit of the details here, but it's like you got to deal with Chinese toy manufacturers, and it's not an easy process by any means. And of course, they love doing big runs of things, but they also will entertain smaller runs. So it's like it's a possibility, but I'm just curious if people would think that action figures would be kind of a cool thing.
So
because I love collecting them myself. I'm getting into it myself, just collecting all the real, like the regular wrestling action figures.
Yep. So Gizmo, Damien, if you like the idea of these figures and you'd be willing to go for it if we do it, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm just curious if people think action figures is kind of a neat thing, and maybe people might not be into the action figures. Not everybody collects them, Dave.
Right.
But I think that if we did a limited run, there's a certain collecting market out there that they collect everything action figure wise. So that you'd have a certain, customer there. And I wouldn't price these things out of the reach either. These would be in the same price range as the elite figures are that are out there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
this ain't going to be anything like, I'm not talking $50 a doll or the doll figure, that would be way too much. It would definitely be in a reasonable price. And I wouldn't be doing it to make money either, David. This would be more of a thing that we could hopefully make a little money, but not much. And I would also have to work out commission rates for everybody. Any figure that's made, the going commission rate or royalty you pay on a commission, like for, say, if I did Dixie Dave, the standard rate is 10%, but I'd want to go a little bit more because we're doing limited runs. So I'd probably be looking at maybe a 20% commission. So when it comes to action figures, you do have to do royalties on that because you're using somebody's face and everything and likeness in a figure.
Right.
Unless they're a masked wrestler, then we can get away with it. But if we're using their person, their real person, we got to get them to do a royalty agreement with us. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that has to happen. But looks like I've seen a lot of thumbs up though on the action figures, Dave.
Oh yeah, I see Sky Sports is giving a thumbs up. Damien's giving a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Sports Talk is giving a thumbs up. And when we're talking limited run. What Crusher and I were talking about earlier is each figure would only have like 300 figures.
At the most, probably. Unless we go more, but 200 to 300 per figure. So it'd be very limited. But what's nice about the limited runs like that, though, Dave? That makes it collectors really want to get them. Like, because they know there's only going to be X amount made. So, and I would get
think about it. You get a limited collector's run figure. It's only got 200-300 in the world.
Yeah.
Think about that.
It's just cool to know you have something that's more rare. And I get the hologram, serial numbers for the boxes. I'd serial number all of them, so everybody'd have a unique number. And it would be definitely something that would be, more for the collector, really. This wouldn't be toys for the kids. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we're not talking Toys R Us figures. Yeah. Sorry, I'm dating myself there, but...
And everybody's, I've been looking at making my own character personally. Dave knows this. and that's where you got to take an elite figure and you got to go through all the process of repainting and refiguring it just to make a cool looking character. And I found a guy who can do the clothing accessories, and I know everybody would be pissed if I didn't do the Crusher half shirt,
Right.
that I had in the 80s. So I got a guy who said he could make it for me. So to say it'd be just a little miniature of that half shirt. I thought that was kind of cool. But anyways, yeah, so that...
And I mean, like, the Crusher figure would come with the beautiful blue world title. Possibly the Dixie Dave figure might come with the national tag team title. We're talking Elite Series style figures, just very limited.
Yep, and I see Gizmo's asking about the... well, by the way, I should get caught up on the comments here. We got talking, and let me just get caught up in the comments here quick, and then we'll get going on the show, guys, on the watch along. But Gizmo said, as you start to talk to more wrestlers around the world, I am seeing they're starting out in much better conditions than you guys started. But you are right. 1980s kids are grateful for all they got. Yeah, I mean, like the kids, and I get what Gizmo's saying here, the kids today that go through the proper training, that they're coming into a very good situation than what we had, because we didn't have that, ability to do that. So, if we were to go to Eddie Sharkey or Vern Gagne back in the day and say, hey, we want to do junior kids training, they would tell us to get lost.
Exactly.
Come back when you're older would be the message. And so, we just didn't have it. But, I'm certainly not ashamed of what we did, and by any ways, means, shapes. Look, we talked about this last week or the week before. We learned a lot from the NWF, all of us. And,
I think the only reason Eddie didn't tell us to go fly a kite is he saw the crowds we were drawing and he wanted in on that action.
Well, not to brag, guys, but we were drawing at the time when we met Eddie Sharkey. We were drawing, when we did the Anoka Armory, we drew probably 4 to 5 times the crowd he was drawing. So, and Eddie hears this and sees these numbers. So it's in Eddie's head, it's probably a numbers game. He knew we were an attraction. He knew we were something different, and he wanted to latch onto it and benefit from it, which he did in Champlin.
Yep.
Because that show we did with Champlin, that dual event that he wanted to do with us, that was a sellout at the AFW American Legion.
Yeah,
so, I mean, pretty cool stuff. 86, we were red hot.
Oh,
NWF. Yeah.
Well, of course, you had Dixie Dave there.
And then, let's see, Damian Thorne says, talking about the shorts, he says, your shorts are great. It's pulling in more people and views. Yeah, and that's, I just didn't realize shorts, how powerful they were. Now, some shorts it's funny, when you do these shorts, not all of them take off. Most of them will get me maybe 400 to 500 views. Right. And about maybe 3 to 4 to 5 watch hours. And the watch hours are what I really need, because that's what's going to get us to the next level in YouTube.
And, a lot of the really good shorts lately have been Dixie Dave and Ricky Vaughn.
That's the latest batch we did from the 4th of July show we reran. You guys had a lot of great talking points, though, and it was good stuff. How Jamie was breaking in and what it was like and all that. You guys talked about a lot of good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so yeah, the shorts, they're just a really good marketing tool. And I guess I just didn't realize it, but I do now. So I'm trying to, do more of that. I'm going to keep doing those shorts. I'm not going to overly do it. I just basically do 2 a day for maybe 3 or 4 days after we do a show. So maybe 8 shorts a week.
Right.
Thing. All right.
If you guys don't want to watch them, you don't have to. That's
right. Gizmo thinks action figures are a great idea. So that's a good to hear. Like I said, there's a lot of what ifs on these action figures, and it's going to come down to molding costs, because to make an action figure, they got to create a mold. Mm-hmm. And if this mold is too expensive, it just doesn't make it feasible. And I'm still waiting to get a quote on the molding.
Right.
But so the molds is really going to be the make or break, whatever they're going to charge for a mold. So the other alternative is they can use existing molds that they have, but it's just not the same.
Yep. It wouldn't be a true Crusher Crossen.
Right. So I don't know.
It wouldn't be a true Dixie Dave.
Because my thinking is if we're going to do action figures, first of all, I want them lifelike, so they're going to be to scale. So we're not going to be as tall as the normal WWE guys, be maybe a little shorter. But then when I get to guys like the Super Ds and the lightweights, I got to make them a lot shorter. So and there's no existing mold for that. So yeah, we'll just see what all comes through. And then Gizmo, I think I mentioned this, but he says, what would your action figures be like? Would it be your half USA shirt? How about you, Dave? Yeah, like I told you, I already got a guy who said he could do the half shirt. And the company I'm working with, they have a clothing section that just does little clothing accessories, and they said they could do that half shirt. So, yeah, the half shirt. I know everybody likes the half shirt, so I would have to include anything that was unique to a person back then. I'd want to include, including championship belts.
And and to answer your question, Gizmo, for me, I would ask Crusher to do it with the blue gear that I wore.
And that's what I'd want to do it with.
Not the sweatpants and no shirt. I'd want the gear, the boots.
What's hard, though, as I think of this, is what would I do when I get to Kid Kelsey? Do I do Kid USA Kelsey? Do I do Kid Hot Stuff Kelsey? That's it's a hard one.
Here's what you could do, Crusher. Here's what you could do. When we were talking, you were talking about doing like Kid Kelsey and Macho.
Yeah, grudge match. I mean, that was a popular rivalry. So, yeah, that makes sense.
But what you could do as a chase series, an even more limited edition, is you could do a Hot Stuff Kelsey versus Crusher Crossen.
Well, and the third option is I can make them both. I could have the Hot Stuff look, and I can also have the dark blue sweats and the blue USA to cover all that and become USA Kelsey. So you can do both in one, too.
Right.
Yeah, there's ways to do it.
You make chase figures, that gives people something else to go after.
Right. Yeah, just like we talked about with what they're doing at Power Town with Medusa. They're going to come out with a classic edition to get that Medusa Michelli from the AWA look.
Yep.
Which I think is a good move on their part. So that's all updated on our questions. All right, let's kind of get moving here, Dave. I'm going to play, as you know, every week we do a preview of what's going on the NWF Video Network. And, for those who are wondering what we're talking about, that don't know what the NWF Video Network's all about, our NWF Video Network Premium. And you just go to our website, to that video-network, or if you just go to nwfwrestling.org and you'll see a link at the top for the video network. That'll show you what it's all about. This is our subscription and rental network where you can either rent an episode or you can subscribe and get unlimited views of everything we're showing you on these Rewind show that have been cleaned up and everything. If you go here, you're going to see it in full 1080p, full resolution.
Exactly.
And without me and Dave chattering away over the audio. So and every week we show you what's coming on the network next. So every show. So then I'm going to play the preview of what's coming up on the network on the 15th, because we put a new episode on that network on the 1st and the 15th of every month. So the 15th is coming up here in like 4 days. Let's show you guys what's going on the network. This is the world premiere. It hasn't even hit YouTube yet. I always premiere it on our Rewind shows. So here's a look. Here's a look at the show that's coming up next on the Video Network.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first ever outdoor show. Bell just rung. We are here recording live from the Yoho Municipal Arena. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there you see in the background there. I
don't know what to say about this. There's a big weight difference here, but obviously
Tough Tony's still on the ground.
The NWF made its first smart decision by kicking out Akron. Then they made their second by kicking out Taylor. And now they made their best decision ever by kicking out the Russians to rid the world of Russians forever.
What's this? Body slam? No, yes, it is a body slam.
It's a...
See, the rippling muscles of Conan. Oh, a DDT! He could be knocked out. What's the count? What? Tokyo Terror, he's a tough competitor. It's not easy to put him down. The claw! The claw! I haven't seen him use this one before.
And now, but we're finished with Taylor. We proved our point. Now Mr. X is getting in my hair again for a year. It's been a year since I've stepped in the ring with Mr. X.
Oh, and here comes the audience again.
Oh, and what's oh?
Hip toss.
There you go.
Oh, a clothesline to Mr. X. Oh, Kid USA Klutzy. Oh, and he's throwing out.
Over the top rope.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
You knew the count. It was a double count out. You took him in the ring post. You know it. The double count out.
You counted when we were still in the ring. Kelsey. Oh, slap to the face. Oh, Crusher's mad. Probably down there. Oh, and the Ice Dragon setting him up. He's setting up Rockin' Around a Bomb suplex. Oh! Could be a big splash here. Here, the guy on the outside of the ring. Where are you? He's getting on the rope. Holy cow, right in the arm! Right in that injured back where Pretty Boy Taylor suffered a slip disc. I got one. What's this? Oh, he misses him. Oh, over the top rope. What is it going to be? Is it going to be the DDT? Yes, the DDT.
Not gonna stand for this crap any longer. You're responsible, referee.
Hey, come on.
The tags were. I don't know which one to call it. None of the tags were legal.
Come on. Hey.
Stupid Mike.
Spit on yourself, didn't you? Spit on his mask, huh?
"4 days." So yeah, 4 more days, and that goes live on the network.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, that's an interesting comment I see. Let's get some more of these comments out of the way. Let's see. Sky Sports says, Crusher, how long did it take to put together that last preview? Which preview? Are you talking about this one we just watched preview? I wonder if he means that one, because I don't know when this comment came in before we started watching it. Last preview. Well, all those previews, those 3-minute previews I do like that, that I do for all, like even the show we're going to watch today, those previews take me maybe, doesn't take too long. I have like kind of a template I use, and they don't take too long. So maybe, I don't know, an hour or less to throw those together. And then Damian Thorne says, Crusher, is this the first time you wore your brown wrestling singlet? I never had a brown singlet. My singlet was always blue. What I think you've seen in the interview was my Crusher half shirt, which has that tannish look. I would wear that over the singlet. So, yeah, I wore that half shirt, all the way up till the July Armory card. So, yeah, you wore that for a long time. Yeah, Damien did confirm in the last preview. All those previews, they take maybe I'd say less than an hour, maybe a half hour.
But you see, the time-consuming thing for Crusher is the refurbishing the video.
Yeah, that part takes a lot of time. There's just so many steps involved. But but once it's all done, then I can throw together the previews. I can put all the other stuff together. It goes pretty quick. So yeah. All right, guys. Without further ado, let's get on with the watch along. We'll start getting our show going here. So we're going to go to the Fred Moore Junior High, like we talked about, the dungeon. This is our first taping out of there. This is technically Superstar Spectacular 85. We never got to do it in the garage because of the insurance agent kicking us out, so we ended up doing it on this show. But this was one of those shows. It was our first show on Fred Moore, and we didn't realize we could get 2 shows of taping out of there, and so we had too much wrestling, but not enough for 2 shows. So a lot of the matches kind of got edited down. And I wished I would have never done that, guys, because it makes some matches super, super short. but it was just me trying to make it work for a 60-minute slot. So
Right.
So let's get the show going. Get rid of
Without further ado,
yes, without further ado,
let the show roll.
And remember, folks, keep chiming in with any questions as we go. Dave and I will answer them. Of course, these are new revived, remade intros. This is a brand new intro for this. I mean, the intro is always existing, but this is a new version of it.
Well, the intro music.
Well, the music's changed, but all the footage and all the graphics, all the text, this has all been rebuilt.
Ah.
Yep. It's following the same exact style that it was. Anything it said, we keep it the same. I do take the courtesy to fix spelling errors, though. I can't stand seeing spelling errors at this time, at my age now. So if I see I spelled something wrong, I fix it. And what you're going to see coming up here in the graphics, you guys, is just not true. We were not brought to you by the AWA, but it was just us wanting
Tooting our own horn.
Tooting our own horn, yeah, because we were in contact with them, and I was talking to Roy Nelson, and I just wanted to establish that connection in some way, shape, or form. Roy Nelson was Vern Gagne's agent.
You know, and the AWA knew what we were doing.
Oh, yeah. Roy even asked me, Dave, Roy, when I check in with Roy Nelson every month or so, he said, "Hey, I heard you got my name in the credits." I said, "Yeah, I do." What was I going to say? I wasn't going to lie to him. Yeah.
And he never told you to stop, so...
He didn't, yeah, he didn't say take it out. He just brought it up to me, though. So, yeah, this is, again... Any of these little NWF promo bumper things, I've rebuilt these, used the proper graphic that we had.
Yep.
Fix it up, so that's what you're seeing here.
You know what it tells me with Ray bringing up his name in our credit?
What's that?
It tells me he was watching the show.
Well, if he wasn't, somebody was. At the office. At the AWA office, right? Folks, let me know if the audio is too loud or too quiet on the show. I will adjust it accordingly. I'm talking about the watch-along audio. So, the Sons of... So this taping was our very first taping since we got kicked out of the garage from the insurance agent.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Wrestling Federation. 2-month delay since the matches, and now we're off and running here.
So 2-month delay, as I mentioned there. And we had just a host of new wrestlers. What you got here is this entire match is brand new kids that just came into the show today on the show. So they had no training or anything yet. They just brand new, thrown into a match. This is how we did it, folks. When you came onto the show, it was almost a audition to see if you're going to come back. We didn't tell you anything. We didn't let you in any secrets, as Dave knows. You're just saying, this is your match?
Painful education.
Yeah, and, you know. And that's how we would initiate the guys in a way. See who was going to come back the next week and who wasn't. Because I learned early on when we'd have people come in and we'd start telling things, all of a sudden they're telling everybody at school. And I'm getting people saying, so that's how you do it. So you do this, so you do that. And I got tired of hearing it. So we kind of changed up our way of doing things, for better or worse. We just didn't let you in on it right away of how things were done.
You know, I mean, when I came in, I knew that wrestling was work.
Yeah. As probably most people knew when they went into Vern Gagne's camp.
Yep.
But nothing said.
Exactly.
Now, I didn't know. Right, I didn't know, though, Vern was doing it like that. I didn't know that. That's just what I found out. I just did it this way, Dave, because of the shit I was getting at school.
Yep.
You know, with other kids that come in and just came in for one show and then started tattling to everybody on how we did stuff. I just started getting a lot of crap from other kids at the time. This was early on in the show, in the very early days. So I just got tired of it at that age, you know. So we kind of developed our own kayfabe, Dave.
Exactly.
I guess you could say. So we got here is Chad Ronnebaum. He's been a guest with us before. Rockin' Ronnebaum there in the ring, the blonde-haired kid. And that's Tough Tony, and these guys are both making their debut on this show.
Yep.
And
the almost Hall of Famer Rockin' Ronnebaum.
Almost. And he just tagged off to Chris Irick, the Eye. This is the one kid there, the kid in the white t-shirt. It's the one kid that I had to actually say, you're fired.
Yep.
I had to kick him out because he was causing ruckus and problems with other kids.
Okay, Crusher, we just got a new comment coming in. I'll bring it on screen for you to read.
Were there any... Hang on, here's sick. Were there any rules given to new people to keep them safe, like no hitting below the belt, no contact at the head, etc.? Yeah, the referee usually kind of go over the rules with them. They'd say, like, you know, and remember, all these kids are fans of wrestling, so they know what the do's and don'ts are anyway.
Yep.
So they know how a professional wrestling match usually goes, and so they're just going to do the same. And that's kind of what we more or less tell them, that this is like the wrestling. You know, they all know what they're getting into here. So as far as pro wrestling style.
And at least with my match, I know you put me in the ring with somebody I knew prior to coming in.
Chad Randall. Yeah.
Yep. So,
now, Dave, not to cut you off, but in the ring, this is, he's called the Masher. But he would then, the following week, he'd change his name to Sergeant Smash. And he would make a 180. He'd go from being a Russian to being an All-American USA hero.
Yep.
But yeah, so these guys are just brand new, and you know, this was kind of their initial, like I said, it was kind of an initiation type thing. We just let them do their moves, but what starts happening at this time, you guys, actually we started in the garage, but we really start doing it now. We do a taping at Fred Moore. The following week, it's a practice session. Then the next week, it's a taping. And the next week, well, I think we call them training sessions.
Yep.
So, and that would be a training session. So, training sessions, tapings, training, taping, training, taping. And we'd keep alternating every week at Fred Moore. Every Saturday, we were in there. And on those training sessions, just like you've seen on Keaton's channel, and all they have those big mat pads and stuff, crash mat pads, we used them in here too, because they had them in the other room. So we'd drag these pads in and we'd use them to land on, to get people comfortable doing drop kicks and suplexes. We did all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So we did start getting into that now at this point in time. And you'll really notice the wrestling from this point on right here to, I would say, May, when our first Armory event. So about a 3-month period, you really are going to see the wrestling in this Fred Moore days. You'll really see it start to improve. You know, the pro wrestling type style.
Right.
It'll get very old school style, very reminiscent of what you'd see on television at the time. But, you know, we start doing body slams, suplexes. We start we really go over in the training on hip block takedowns and veal throws and
how to chain moves together.
Yep. And just doing all those things. Got some more comments coming in here.
Yep, Sky Sports.
Sports Talk 117 says, in the past episodes, I remember you started banning moves like pile drivers and other dangerous moves. I don't know if did we ban the pile driver? I know we talked about how it was banned in the WWF.
Right.
What we did start banning was the use of metal chairs, folding chairs, because that was getting out of hand.
Right.
When Mike got hit too hard in the head in the studio. And I made it clear that if anybody brought a folding chair in after that, they're automatic disqualified. So that stopped people from bringing chairs in for a long time. Rockin' Ronnebaum and Chris.
Tell me, how long have you been with the NWF? For about a week. For about a week, and I take it the same with you, Rockin' Ronnebaum? This is great, but for them people, I give them credit, but if they would have stayed in, they would have learned how
Rusty right now, but
Yep.
But Ronabom, he got really good at his interviews after a while. He was had that gift to gab when it came to an interview.
Well, that's one thing that you need in the business is that gift to gab.
Yep. So this is all the new and improved look, and when you see this on the video network, it'll of course be double the resolution as what it is now. I have to cut it down and I have to cut it in half just to make it work on this podcast.
Just so we can bring it to you folks.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NWF. And the next match is the return of, well, first we're going to introduce the first team from Japan.
I was going to edit this kind of stuff out, but I left it in. When I cleaned it up, but when that was just embedded in the video. I can't really get rid of it, so.
Right.
Little glitches like that. It's our debut of Tokyo Terror.
Yep.
By the way, the referee is one of the Super Ds. That looks like... let me see. I got to see him first, see if it's Todd or Troy.
You're in the way.
I know. I think that is Troy Dazowski. I think.
Jerry must not have been available that day.
What's that?
Well, with it being Thandar and...
Oh, no. They weren't a team yet. Jerry didn't come into the league yet for another month or two.
I see.
Yep. Thandar is still just Thandar. So there's the original Mr. X2, Jason Annenson. He's actually, I think he's the only masked wrestler we had that was a masked wrestler. He never wrestled without his mask.
I see.
Very interesting that way. And he did Mr. X2 all the way up to the Armory event. Then the Armory event, we switched Mr. X2 out, Jason Annenson out for Chad Rancor. He started playing Mr. X2 at that point.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this match will be underway.
It was one of those, I think his mom didn't want him wrestling type thing, kind of like Jason Crossen's situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Is now underway.
And she found out he was doing it.
What a match this should be. Tokyo Terror.
So Tokyo Terror, and I was real big on this. I told Jason going into this show, we had 2 months of not being able to do matches, so we had a lot of time to recruit. That's why we got all these new wrestlers right now.
Right.
And I told Jason, I said, Jason, I want to create this foreign Legion of Doom. I want a Russian tag team, and I want a Japanese wrestler. And I put that on Jason's shoulders. I said, find me some guys at school. And Jason was friends with Peter Wynn, and he got him on and became Tokyo Terror. What a great character he was. To do that, do a lot of karate stuff because that's what Japanese guys do. Peter wasn't Japanese; he was Vietnamese.
Right.
And so we had to do a lot of explaining to him to get him to understand that he's going to be we're going to pretend he's from Japan. Because Peter's like, I'm not from Japan. I'm not Japanese, and to him that's a big deal because he's Vietnamese. When you're Asian, Vietnamese know the difference between Japanese. I mean, there's a
right.
But we explained to him. I said, Peter, you're just playing a part. You're just playing the part. I said, people don't understand the Vietnam War. We don't even want to go there. That's a mess. But they get Pearl Harbor. They get World War II. So we're gonna go this route.
Hurt, Thunder, Tokyo Terror makes tag with Thunder, Irish whip into the turnbuckle, oh, clothesline!
Steve was so good at taking bumps. Mr. X.
In some sort of pain. Ooh.
By the way, if I ever do a Mr. X character action figure, this is the look I would do right here. The white mask. The white mask, white boots, white knee pads, the black trunks, and the black Jack Daniels shirt. That was real trademark Mr. X.
Yep.
Thunder makes the tag with Tokyo Terror. Mr. X is hurt badly. Ooh, not looking good in his return.
Yeah, we brought our NWF wrestling thing in the background there because they had all their stuff on the background, posters and stuff. So we brought the American flag and we brought our NWF wrestling banner to put on the back wall.
Where are you going? Okay.
You know the one thing I regret that we never did do?
What's that?
At least not to my memory. Okay, remember how before the show we'd always do like the Pledge of Allegiance and play the national anthem?
Yep.
We never did an angle where we had the Foreign Legion break it up.
Actually, there was one time, Dave. One time. You were before you joined. Here in Fred Moore, we were doing the national anthem, and the camera was zoomed up on the American flag, right? And then in walks Rattlesnake Jake during the middle of the national anthem and does a big old spit on the American flag.
Huh.
And then walks out. It was just his way of doing it, Jason's way in that character, just to get the heat. Another time Jason came out during the national anthem and saluted the flag as Corporal Crossen. So Jason would always be in whatever character he's in. He'd play the character.
Yep.
I mean, that was the closest, I guess, to doing an angle on the anthem.
So the winners were Tokyo Terror and Thandar.
And Thandar, yep. So I'm doing double duty announcing. It's like we're still wrestling in socks these days.
Yeah, I miss those boots. I mean, I know now I couldn't get my big foot into them, but...
Yeah. Well, at least we got interviews on this show, guys.
I think they should ship the Tokyo Terror back to Japan.
Sometimes the background gets messed up, if you notice from the restoration. Nothing I can do about that. But who cares, right? I mean, who cares if the wall gets distorted? These interviews, though, really show nice detail on the restoration.
You know, the one thing I did like about Fred Moore, if you're listening to the audio, you hear that echo in the background.
Yeah.
It gave the impression that we were in a much larger area.
Plus, Steve's little setup with the microphone and amplifier was all reverbed as well.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, Damien's commenting on that half shirt. That's the half shirt I'm getting made for my custom character that I'm having somebody make for me. I am going to have that half shirt made for my little character I'm making for myself. Yeah, half shirts were an 80s thing for sure. Now Steve's doing the announcing. Steve Engstrom.
Yep. Oh, and getting back to the figures, folks. If we're able to do them the way Crusher wants to do them, they're not going to be just like figures that come in a little plastic bag.
Right.
They're going to be actual packaging, semi-similar to the Elite figures.
Yep. Yep, they'd be in a box and everything. It's all part of the deal. Now that is Todd Dazowski. Yeah, I had it right. That's Todd. The other one was Troy. So Todd's got the gray sweatpants. Todd's much more professional than Troy. He tucks his shirt in. So Crusher Crossen and Slick Steenerson. I'll tell you something. People had commented before about I know that King Coop said he really liked this reverse body slam that Troy does in this match. I'll show you. It's coming up here right now. This hurt like a bugger, though, right here. That knocked the wind right out of me.
Oh, especially in that ring.
Yeah, and it's like, and Troy did that to me in the garage too. That was a thing he did in the beginning. He always did that, pick you up and throw you down on your back move. And it's like, man, but that clearly knocked the wind out of me. I remember. Guys are rough. And King Coop saying, God, that should be a cool finisher today if somebody could do that. He called us a reverse body slam. King Coop was saying that'd make an awesome finisher today.
Yep.
Yeah. Troy's pants are falling off.
Yeah, that's the thing about wrestling in sweatpants. They don't stay real.
Yeah. You know, Slick was a lot like Slick Steenerson was kind of like a King Kong Bundy build for us kids. You know,
Yep.
he's a big big round guy, and but I don't want to call him fat because he was heavy. He was big boned. He was strong as an ox, though.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Very, very strong. One of my favorites, too, to wrestle because he was so easy to work with. Troy was a big guy, but he was light as a feather in the ring. You know, as far as doing moves.
Yep. I never got to go against Troy. I got to tag with him once.
Yep, I remember that. And Fred Moore, I think.
Yep. And I think that would have been a great tag team if we could have continued it.
Yeah. This guy here, that's Troy's original partner for the U.S. Enforcers. He called himself the Wiz or whatever. He's one of those one and dones. This is just a friend, though, of Troy's that Troy brought along to be his partner. And Troy would replace this Wiz with the Eye, the one with that in their corner there, that weird-looking flag thing he's carrying around.
Yep.
That would become Troy's partner after this show, I believe, to be the U.S. Enforcers. The only reason I'm in there with Jason, because Jason needed a partner, and he asked me to be his partner.
Yep.
Normally, I wouldn't be in a tag match, because I already have a match on this show.
And like all of us, you're loving being on the apron right there by the ring. And
Yep. I remember Steve was trying to get this ring. When we first got in there, these ropes were really draped because it was a boxing ring. So they weren't tight to go off of. They were super loose. So Steve went around and started tightening up all the turnbuckles. And then all of a sudden, he tightened it. Their old rusty turnbuckles probably been in there for 20 years. And one broke. He got it too tight and it snapped. I said, Steve, what are you doing? I said, you're going to get us kicked out of this place. We got to replace that. We got to go to the hardware store and get whatever that turnbuckle is and replace. So Steve did. He went out and bought a new turnbuckle and replaced it. Because I was so afraid we were going to get kicked out. I just didn't want to lose it, you know, the setting. These have all been redone as well, guys. These little green up next things, they were on the original show, and I just fixed them all up and regenerated them with the same text and the same fonts. Yeah, that Crusher half shirt. I wish I still had that. I don't believe I do anymore.
well, you'll have it in spirit soon.
Yeah. I made that shirt in graphics art class. We had to do a screen printing project, so we were able to take a so I made a half shirt for the show. Yeah. I had already been using the half shirt. I just put the letters on it and Team USA on the back. I like how Steve dresses up for these announcing bits.
Yep.
The suit and
Puts
everything.
on slacks and a dress shirt.
Yep.
Trying to be the Fink.
You know, and Steve's just trying to make the show look more presentable. It's all I'm telling you, in the beginning, Steve was all in. He was all in when it came to trying to make it look better.
He was all in until Larry showed up.
It was until Larry fed his mind with a bunch of shit. No other way to put it.
Yep.
And Steve fell for it. Oh, that's okay. So, how did you get the black eye in this video? I don't have a black eye. It just looks like it because of the way sometimes when you're in as I fix things up. I do have dark spots under my eyes naturally. So, sometimes they get enhanced depending on the type of, you know, like even with Troy with the lighting and stuff, looks like he has black eyes. So it's just an effect of this particular lighting situation and stuff. It just looks like it. It isn't. Troy always got heat though as a heel. Always.
I don't think Troy ever was a babyface.
Oh no. Nope. He made a good heel too.
You know, that's the thing about Troy. He was a heel in the ring, but if he liked you,
Ladies and gentlemen, this match
he was as nice as could be.
Yeah.
Troy Otto and
Troy was a big ribber though. He loved pulling pranks and jokes on
What do
you.
you think about this match so far? What feelings
Oh,
do you
yeah.
have? Ooh,
I do remember one time away from the ring, you guys hit me with a rib.
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah, we were out at the
Weight behind him.
we were out at Troy's place, all three of us,
He's one good belly bopper.
and
Ooh, Steenerson. There you go. One count.
you guys said that you were going to run to the store real quick to grab something, you'd be right back.
Yeah.
An hour later, I'm sitting at Troy's house by myself, nobody's around, so I'm just like, screw it. And I started walking home.
I don't remember that.
My goodness, ooh. Chop to the shoulder.
I mean, I imagine it happened. You remember? I just don't remember. We did all sorts of crazy stuff back then, though.
Title defense.
Oh, and some of the parties at Troy's house.
Yeah.
Holy smash. Oh, Steenerson in pain.
So yeah, I haven't got.
Go there though.
I don't have the blue singlet yet in this show. I just have the brown, this half shirt, and then the singlet would come here in the next couple shows. Because what Steve did is Steve wanted everybody to look more like having wrestling gear, so he took money from everybody and went and got singlets for everybody. Most
Yep.
everybody. Some people didn't get them even though they paid for them. Steve just screwing up on the pricing, but not having enough money for everybody to get them all. But so I ended up getting a singlet that way from because it was just part of Steve's suggestion that we improve the look of the guys with having them have actual wrestling gear on.
Yep.
That guy thinks he's really hot stuff, man. But I'm gonna kick him.
I think my singlet I actually ordered when I ordered my boot.
Here's a question that's coming in for you, Dave. I'll
Uh-oh.
read it to you. I'll read it off. Dave, was there anyone in the company that you refused to wrestle or someone you didn't like working with?
You know the answer to this, Crusher. I would never refuse to work somebody.
Yeah.
I would. My thing was, like Crusher and I, it's funny you ask, because Crusher and I were just talking about this morning. I was the guy in the company who was, what do you need me to do? Who am I working? I just want to be on the show.
Slick Steenerson.
Looks like we edited this match down. We missed the pin. So again, I was trying to make everything fit for the time slot, and that's something I really regret, Dave. Cutting matches down just to make it work for the show. Losing out on a lot of matches that way. Because I never saved the Masters, so.
Crusher, I'm going to say exactly what we said earlier. We had guys who thought that they deserved more than what they had.
Yeah.
To NWF Ring Talk. I am your
And
host, Ray
I was the
Johnson.
guy that was,
In the
what can I
top
do to
news
be on the show?
This month in the NWF, we have
And this here segment, Dave, Ring Talk, was something we thought would be a good idea to do, and it turned out it was just took way too much time away from the show.
has been suspended. Now,
It was just Jason
the,
doing a little like
the
editorial,
unofficial time on this has been,
but he'd always just kind of do kayfabe stories. But
we have.
yeah, I kind of wish we wouldn't have done these Ring Talk things, but we did, push our recruiting numbers to get wrestlers, kids to join. So that was always a big part of it.
Yep.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and we have if you'd like to join the NWF. Or
We didn't get too many calls out of state because we never didn't always put the area code, so people couldn't figure it out when the tapes aired in like New York or Dallas or whatever. So, but there was a time when we had the area code on, I think, on some of our things, and then that's when we started getting calls from like Denver, and so I had to that was one of the reasons we didn't want to show area codes, because otherwise I'd get calls and people leaving messages on our hotline of outside the area, you know.
Right.
This line is in effect now, and it will be in effect 1/2 hour after this show has finished.
But yeah, you're right. You know, certain people thought they were.
Also in the other news,
They used to be on our show that think that today they should have had the world championship. You know.
They've recently finished their tour of Japan, Tokyo.
But, you know, I came into the company
only to lose it in a match
with the thought, okay, I have to pay my dues to earn my spot.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people came in with that thought.
Through France, he put his title
to a certain extent, I was a promoter's dream, because I was like, I want to be on the show. What can I do?
So Gizmo, to answer your question, Gizmo's got a question. He says, how much internal pressure did you get from the wrestlers in the company that wanted you to have them win a belt? Well, a lot, especially in the beginning. This is why we went to shoot title matches, just because of this. Because of the pressure I was getting from everybody saying I'm not being fair and who gets the belt.
Pretty big profit there.
And that we're playing favorites, and that we're, you know, letting certain people have belts and other people not having belts. And so that was why we started doing shoot title matches in 1985, because I thought, okay, fine, then we'll just do shoots, and that's how it's going to be decided, because I got tired of hearing that. So in the beginning, a lot. Then, when we decided to go back, and like right now in '86, this is now where everything's a work. We're not doing shoots anymore.
Yep.
On this show. And at this point, not a whole lot. Not a lot of people came and said, hey, I need to win the belt, or I want to win. Nobody really asked. I would generally just let them, you know, if I felt that was right for the angle, we would just figure it and make it happen.
Okay, 1 second, Crusher. I'm going to mute my mic and go off camera for just a second.
Yep, sounds like you got some... Dave's got some barking dogs you got to take care of.
Yep.
Before Walmart or whatever closes.
Quick trip. We got to if you guys go to Walmart, get a regular.
Dave, you need to mute your mic, though. You haven't muted your mic yet.
I can put I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I was just using a little.
We should.
I can't mute him, guys. Sorry.
Just also do me a favor.
We have a lot more
This
NWF
month
action
is
coming
over.
up after ring
Get
talk.
like a cheap bottle of vodka.
No, they won't be over probably until tomorrow.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if you've seen the
We're gonna go do that tomorrow.
You will agree with me.
Could you take them outside real quick, Bridget?
Yeah.
The Russian destroyers, consisting of Brutus and Boris Markov, which are fairly new wrestlers coming out of the USSR, Moscow, and Butcher Bulldog out of Leningrad.
Are you there, Dave?
Very
Dave, you muted your mic. You actually were not muted. There, now you are.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, you actually forgot to mute your mic there, so now you ended up muting it instead.
But this isn't an editorial.
But yeah, you
Sorry,
had
folks.
a dog going nuts there for a while.
Team
Yep.
USA, consisting of Crusher Crossen, Corporal Crossen, and Mr. X. Now, a lot of you have been
Okay.
about Mr. X. Where
But yeah,
is
like you were
Mr.
saying,
X?
this
Well, the
drug
name
on
is
too
total
much.
mystery, as you all know.
Yeah, went way
Soon
too
to be-
long.
Their name's soon to be released.
And so
You should
we didn't
be
do this
seeing
again.
on this show.
This is the only show we did this, and it took away time from matches, you know.
Anyways,
So
at this time, I would like to get
there was a lot of
into
things I didn't
a
like about
little
it.
editorial here, and my
In fact, I think I even
this week
ed-
will be
edited it down even
Brian
from when it was
Peterson,
originally
the
aired.
fabulous one. Like we said, he's been suspended.
Like right there, there's an
1
edit
month is
point.
the unofficial time, but you never know. It may be more, it may be less. We don't know. There's been rumors going
Hear
around
this
the
noise.
studios here that the fabulous one has been
Yeah.
suspended. For those of you who do not know what indefinitely suspended means, that he's kicked out
Yeah, you know, the NWF
What
was
an editorial that
a
was.
happy day and
Getting back to
a
ring
happy
talk.
point in my life.
If we could post those phone numbers again for the NWF.
You know, it's
NWF hotline. If you call,
it's one of the highlights
the numbers
Yeah.
are 421-6798
in my past.
and
Yep.
427-6939.
You know,
And they are on your screen.
It was a fun time. I mean, is it?
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee you, if you ask anybody that was on the show, if you could go back in time and do that again, would you like to? I don't think you'd find anybody
Oh,
that'd say
heck
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers if you'd like to join.
Gosh,
I
it
would
is-
happily go back if I could go in a time machine and go back to those
You have to make
days.
sure if you do call, all wrestlers must
It
be
was
under the
a
age
happy
of
period.
It was just a
16.
fun time.
And
A
if you
growing
do call
period
now,
for us.
we
I
are
mean, we're just
accepting
learning and
wrestlers.
growing and
And your
building
name will be given
something
to the
constructive.
NWF console.
We all knew we were.
You can
When
receive
you were
more
in the
information
NWF, you
on
knew
that
you were a part of
by
something
calling
that was
blinking
going
at the
places. You know,
blinking numbers
you
on
knew
your
it. You could
screen.
feel it.
421-6798,
You knew you were part of something revolutionary.
427-6939.
Yeah.
One of the
You know, I
NWF
mean,
staff will
Like, we
answer
knew
your
it then.
call and answer
You
your
know,
questions or
I
take your
mean,
name,
there was
Yeah.
nothing like what we did
even
when we did
with
it,
some tour
Yeah.
information
and it was all the
re-up
brainchild of
for
you.
It's,
Well, I mean,
gosh,
yeah,
I
it
don't
was, but
listen- I
every
don't know
kid's
what they
dream,
are.
really.
I don't
Every kid
produce-
wanted
I
to
don't
do it
do
that
this
was a
program,
wrestling fan.
but they will be
Okay, but
flashing
Crusher, what
those
I'm saying
numbers up pretty
is
soon for
a lot
Ring
of kids
Talk.
dreamed of wrestling professionally and
This is
having
Ray
a
Johnson
show,
for Ring Talk, your host.
Yeah.
but did they follow through with it? No.
Yeah, at least not as organized as we were, that's for sure.
Certainly, and we'll be sending that information to you shortly.
They might have had matches in their
Hello,
backyard or
everybody.
whatever,
I
but
just wanted to
in a
remind
wrestling
you,
ring,
this
in
is
front
I'm
of
here,
people,
I'm
at an armory show,
answering the
on a
phones
cable
for the
access
NWF
program.
hotline. We have
You know,
wrestlers
That's what
we
set us
now,
apart.
They're calling. They want to join. Quite
You know, we
spectacular.
were professional enough
if you would like to
that
call,
we
those numbers are
caught the eye of
421-6798. The number is blinking
Yeah,
on your screen.
Eddie Sharkey.
427-6939.
You know, I mean, it's like I
Either one
said
of those numbers, and someone will answer,
a
and
couple
they
weeks
will
ago.
take your call.
Our DVDs are now in the
We'd
hands of
just
some
like to
pro
remind
wrestler
this
Mhm.
hotline will be in effect
because
during the show, and one half an hour
I had the
after the
opportunity
show, those
to
numbers
present
again,
it to a former TNA wrestler.
421-6798 and 427-6939.
You know, just think of it, Dave. This was recorded in the end of January, this
Thank
show.
you very much.
In about 5 months, we would meet Eddie Sharkey
Certainly.
from this point.
And because of our numbers that we draw, Eddie was cool with us. He wanted in on our action.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even sports videos saying that that whole segment was just too lengthy. And it was. And it took away from matches. That's what I don't like today. That took
You
away
know,
from match time.
Next match is the Super D's
So this is the first time the Super D's faced the Rough Russians.
in Wisconsin with a combined weight of 119 pounds. And now coming in to the ring at this time is, I have no idea.
I missed it.
Steve, like, and it must not have been written on the sheet and see, like, and coming in at this time, and he's like, I have no idea. He didn't know who the team was. It's the trouble with having all these new guys.
Well, the Super D's versus the Rough Russians.
So the Super D's against the Rough Russians. These guys would get pretty... I mean, Tough Tony and the Super D's got really good with each other after a while. This is the very first time they're in the ring with each other, though. A little rusty with each other, but...
Let me tell you something about the Super D's. One of the
You know, we are going to have to get a hold of Tough Tony again.
Yeah, he was wanting to come on and be a guest with us, and love to talk to him again.
And Super D's.
So if you're out there watching Tough Tony, get a hold of Crusher.
Yeah, have you come on and talk with us again?
The Russians again.
Yeah, that's again Super D. Todd Dazowski was a Super D2. Troy Dazowski Super D1. And right now in the ring is Super D. 2, which is Todd Dazowski. It's hard to tell them apart. It took me forever to understand who was who with them guys. Back in the day. I mean, they're identical twins.
Exactly.
Choking. One of the rough Russians.
Sorry, as you heard, the fiance is taking off, and our old guard dog came in.
Yep.
Say hi. And to keep her quiet, I had to give her a little attention.
Yeah. And then you meant to mute your mic, but you missed it, and so it was still going active all that time. And then it was kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
And then you come in and then you actually mute it when you thought you had it muted.
Well, you see, I hit mute when I left, but I must have double bumped it or something.
I wish that's something I could control. Like if I needed to, I wish I could just mute you. You know, but I don't have that ability.
Well, if you had the control to mute me whenever, you just mute me all the time.
I mean, I could remove you from the scene. That's one way to do it, I guess. But
throws the Super D into the ropes. Oh, drop kick. Oh,
the Super Ds are starting to get their drop kick down in these days.
Yep.
And I know that when we talked to Troy, he remembers practicing the double drop kick with Todd. He remembers that. Like they were going to do it there, but Tony screwed it up on him. Yeah, he held the ropes or whatever, and he couldn't get it off.
Throws him into the ropes. A smash.
Yeah, this wasn't a good gimmick for Sergeant Smash to be a Russian. It only lasted this show.
Yep.
That's Chris Irick in there as referee, the eye. Nice and professional look with the shirt tucked in.
Oh, I'm sure you said something to him right before he went out.
No, I'm more of an advocate of it today. Back then, I probably wasn't as big. Well, maybe I was, because you notice a lot of the guys with the shirt tucked in, like even in this little promo.
Yep. That's why I'm saying, I'm sure you said something or Steve said something.
Yeah. Speaking of Steve.
I still would like to get both of the Super Ds on.
Yeah, I would too. Have them both at the same time. I know Troy's always up for it. It's getting Todd to have time. He's so busy with other things, coaching and everything.
Yep.
So maybe one of these days it'll happen. I'd like to get Rough Ryan on one of these days.
Well, you're more in contact with the guys than I am.
Well, I mean, to a degree. I mean, I'm just, it's not like we chat all the time with everybody, so.
I still occasionally get the feeling that the guys think, okay, well, Sean contacts me about something, it's official. If Dave does, it's just ideas that they're throwing at him.
Nah, I don't know if anybody likes it that way. Maybe back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So the Russian Destroyers, new music to get rid of their copyrighted music.
The Russian Destroyers are entering the ring right now.
So this is the new Russian Destroyers tag team that Jason recruited, and then Bulldog the Butcher to make a 6-man tag.
These people are really pumped up and ready to go. Man,
kind of grinds at me watching him hit the ropes the way he was.
Yeah. It's all 2020 hindsight, though, today, Dave.
Oh, I know.
So Mr. X is the national champion at this point. That's what the belt he had.
He walks around and making a circle. He crawls back.
And then you're carrying the 6-man trophy.
Now, this is one of those matches that got heavily edited to make it fit for time.
This is one match I'd never seen since date. One good match. Crusher Crossen is in trouble. He better get a tag.
These guys are. Jim was so new. Jim Owens in the ring. Jim and Steve Owens. They're the Russian Destroyers. They're brothers. Jim's the older brother. Steve's the younger brother. But they're brand new today on the show, so they're very, very, very green at this point.
Looks like getting pretty good
And they didn't stick around real long.
No, it was kind of a crappy situation for them because Jason Klaus is the one who brought him in the show, and then Jason got in an argument with Steve over something, and Jason wanted them off the show. And my loyalty to Jason, I had to side with Jason. And so it really was not the right thing to do. I mean, they should have stayed on the show. But I was just being loyal to Jason's wishes, you know. He was one of my prominent guys back then.
Yep.
But in hindsight, I'd rather not have not done that.
Crusher Crossen's giving him a face.
Yeah, he hit the wrong guy. He was supposed to hit Jason with that foreign object.
Oh, Russians are really cheaters. The animal. Oh, he gives Klassen. Oh, Klassen gets him down on the mat. Series of techniques.
There's some really hard work going on here. They're really trying to win.
Klassen was in army training for a lot. He should know his techniques.
So look at Butcher's got some kind of foreign object. He's got right in his hand there. You see that piece of wood or whatever. And he's coming in the ring with that foreign object. Smashes him right in the face with it.
They're going for the trophy. He's trying to pin him. Go get it. Go.
And look at it's hard to see, but there's blood coming out of Jason's mouth.
It's total chaos. No way. That was
Coming out of Corporal Klassen's mouth.
Get him out of the ring. Get the.
Corporal Klassen is hurt. Blood coming out of his mouth.
I know. Just set it right here.
So yeah, we give them the 6-man tag team title to set up for the Armory show.
You heard that, folks, but no one will believe it. It is total chaos, and it's.
And I really cut the timing down on this thing too, Dave, because this thing went on forever and ever. This back in the day, so I did reduce this now to a much little shorter 30-second little bumper. It used to go for like a minute.
Yeah.
Stay tuned thing.
Okay, now Crusher, here's a good question for you.
15-man battle royal, and again heavily edited on this. I wish we wouldn't have to edit it like we did. Guys, with all things equal, who was the strongest and most skilled wrestlers in the company?
Tokyo.
Strongest and most skilled. Those are really two different questions.
And we're having a couple of different cultures.
You know,
Just for-
if you had to
Everything is in
combine
chaos.
both features into one person,
Kicking at Russians, chopping at everybody.
I think that we'd both side with the same person.
Mr. Slick hits Mr. X. And Mr. X is down.
For somebody who was skilled and strong.
Still going
Well,
on.
Thandar.
Little object to the Russian.
No,
Steenerson.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
See why.
Thandar and Steenerson definitely would fit that mold.
And
It's just strongest by itself, but not so much skilled.
well,
You know,
Mr.
Conan the
Tokyo
Barbarian was very strong, but he was
Yep.
skilled too, though. I'm trying to think who was just strong but not skilled. Roughhouse Roberts. He was
Yep.
skilled in technical, amateur wrestling, but he wasn't in professional style. But he was strong as an ox.
Yep.
Well, what do you have to say?
But if you're combining both into one person,
I wasn't saying
I think I'd have to go with Slick.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, Slick could have a match with the broom and put the broom over.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the NWF for this week. We hope you enjoyed this show. Coming up next week, we have such names as the Russian Destroyers, Mr. X,
Jason's out of
possibly
breath.
even Ace coming here to the Fred Moore Junior High Arena. We have many other wrestlers. The Eye, Rockin' Ronenbaum, and the Rock and Roller is said that next week he will put his PWA title defense up against Tokyo Terror. Also next week with the Tokyo Terror,
Look at everybody trying to get on camera in the back.
we will have the American
Yep.
Massacre,
who is coming in right now for a quick interview before we go. American Massacre, come on in. I thought it was fun, but too bad Tokyo Terror had to win. Yes, I know. I think we all feel that way. I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him bad. Like we said, a Kung Fu match coming
Very interesting with this guy, though. He was the only masked wrestler that was a masked wrestler in our league.
Coming in. Oh my
Steve is Mr. X. They're attacking me about something.
Tune into our next show. Good night, everybody.
Troy Dazowski in the background there. So again, this is now the new ending credits, revived. You had to get rid of the copyrighted music, of course. It's all this all music you're hearing now is all licensed music now. Kind of has the same vibe. Whatever music I replaced on the show, I tried to pick something that was close.
Exactly.
I mean, this was the Rocky theme, I think. Gonna Fly Now. So this is as close as I could find. That's not that song.
Exactly.
Pulling a Dixie Dave here. I got my strawberry and creams diet zero sugar Dr. Pepper.
You know, and this week, my store was sold out of it, so I'm doing the regular Dr. Pepper Zero.
Yeah. Remember, you know how it says this has been a Group W cable production?
Yep.
Here's another Scott Tronson story. He happened to see this on one of our shows. He says, this isn't a Group W cable production. So he edited the video without even telling me and just put Sean Crossen production text over all of that part. Yeah, he just arbitrarily do that, not even telling me. And all of a sudden I get the show back and I realize he did that. That's Tronson for you, man.
Old man Tronson.
Yeah, just little things like that. So, guys, what'd you think of Fred Moore's first taping? I know the wrestling's still a little rough. We weren't polished yet. It's funny, you think about it. So, end of January, let's see, February, March, April, in 4 months, we would have our first Armory event from that show.
Yep.
Think about that. Now, were we ready to do an Armory event at that point in time? Hell no.
But did you pull it off?
Yeah, but we got to the point where I felt we were ready enough. I'll tell you though, a lot of guys didn't agree. When I came out of the Anoka Armory with Jason Klassen and Matt Kelsey, and I'm like, guys, this is it. We're gonna do it. We're doing the Armory, and they're like, no. Jason especially, he's like, we are not ready for this, Sean. We need to get the wrestling better. That was Jason's big thing. He didn't think we were ready to go in front of people yet. And
but to be honest with Klassen, I'm not sure that he would have ever thought that we were ready.
Right. He was my counterbalance. I was so optimistic, and he was, what do they call it?
Pessimistic.
Pessimistic, yes. That's why we work so well together, me and Jason, because we would balance each other out, really well. And that was a fun show, but the wrestling gets better now from this point on, the professional style.
Yep. Speaking of fun shows, Crusher, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have coming up next week on Fast Forward?
Well, for next week on Forward, it's going to be a very good show. We're going to be talking with the folks over at Pure Pro Wrestling. Joe Bird is the one who runs it. And I'm just putting Joe Bird in company because he's got a bunch of guys he wants to bring on that have went through his junior grapplers program. So we haven't really finalized it all yet on who it's all going to be, but it'll be Joe and a bunch of guys. So, and they have a junior grapplers program they've been doing for about 7 to 8, 9 years now. And what I like about Joe is he's got some really unique stories. He had one of his guys who was autistic that come through, so he put him through the Junior Grapplers program because he felt that would be a better fit for them to get them going. So he said he's doing real well, and he had another one that had a major, some kind of an accident. He was in a wheelchair, and now he's starting to get back in the ring. So Joe loves to take on those kind of challenges with his guys, and I think that's good, Dave. That you got somebody out there like that doing that.
It's willing to help people who otherwise may not get a chance.
Yeah, and so these guys are in Michigan, and Pure Pro Wrestling, and so I'm really looking forward. I think it's going to be a great show to be able to talk with Joe and whoever he has coming on with them, and we'll show some highlights and some clips and everything like we usually do, and have a good conversation. So that's going to be next Thursday. So, and
you never know. There's always a chance Dixie Dave may pop in and ruin your day.
Yeah, well, we're always prepared if Dave wants to join in. So, but we'd be ready to have you come on. So, yeah, so that's what's coming up next week. So that'll be fun. And I meant to do this too. When I'm talking, I have the ability to make myself go full screen with Dave up there, like I'm doing. I need to do this more often. I do it on Keaton's show because I have time to do it, because Keaton's I let him run with the reins on Wrestling Revolution Keaton, but I always forget to do this when it's me and you. So,
well, I'm the one that came up with the idea, and you got to admit, when I'm around, ratings go up. The best show that we ever did, sales wise, Dixie Dave was on that show.
He's talking about October 18th, you guys. And by the way, guys, remember to like and like the stream here if you haven't done it. So that liking, guys, on all of our stuff, whenever I put shorts up or anything, if you guys help me by liking it, that really helps. The more likes we get, the more placements YouTube will give it, especially on the shorts and on everything. But so yeah, likes really matter. So I can't stress that enough.
I'd love to see our stuff eventually make it to the point where it's getting combined in with reels for WWE.
So speaking of the ratings and Dixie Dave, as we all discussed, you are our favorite co-host. Although Damian seems to think Ricky Henry might be a good replacement, might say. So there's that. I'm just throwing that.
You're breaking my heart.
I'm just throwing that in there just because I like to throw that in there. I know he doesn't mean it that way, but that was a fun show the way all that came up.
And I do appreciate your votes for being favorite co-host. Yeah. And as I'm sure you've all guessed, me saying that I'm the ratings machine, whatever, is all just in fun and games.
Yeah. And some of my plans for forward, you guys, because I'm starting to run out of people to actually interview. And if I get to a week where I don't have a guest lined up, I may just not do the show that week, whatever.
And hopefully you'll forgive us.
Yeah, forward's just going to be kind of a hit and miss as we go forward with it. No pun intended. But I do have some things in the works. Subforce Arnie. I've been talking with his dad, and I believe I got all three of them to agree to come on with me. So we'll be doing a show with Subforce Arnie. I got to remember the names here. Lieutenant Louis, Subforce Arnie, and I can't think of his name, Dave. The other one that Subforce has all his matches with, but the three amigos, the three of them. They're all real good friends. And Night Fury. I don't know. I couldn't remember that. Let's get all three of them. I'd like to have them all come on. It'll be an earlier show for them because I'm not going to make them come on at 2 a.m.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So it'll be kind of like the three amigos or the three musketeers or whatever you want to call them. Get them together and have a good conversation. Talk about their ladder match that they did where they got over almost 300,000 views. So yeah, that'll be a good conversation.
Going along with something that the comment Gizmo made, as far as me being the favorite co-host. Little bit of bad news, folks. In 2 weeks, I will not be here.
Yeah.
For Rewind. I've got some personal stuff going on. Full canon. My 2 daughters who have disabilities live in another state. They're traveling to come see Dad for a couple days. And no offense to you guys, I apologize for wording it this way, but I put them above the show.
But I do have some replacements. Jeff Dinsmore is going to be on with me for sure. And I'm going to see if I
have to ask
can't.
him if he found my boots yet.
And I'm going to see if I can't get. It'll all depend on his schedule, but I'm going to see if I can't get Jamie McParland to join us. And actually, I'm going to open up to everybody of my alumni and see if I can't get a bunch of people to maybe come in with us if they're up for it. So we'll have
as
some.
Chris has said in the past, he wants to have a party the week that Dixie Dave is gone.
Yeah. And we'll take votes on who would make the best co-host. Yeah. So.
So, 2 weeks from tonight, you won't see me, but 4 weeks from tonight, I'll be back.
And when the show that Dave, the show you're going to miss, Dave, in 2 weeks is your appearance. You were on that Yoho Municipal show.
Yep.
That we're going to do
next time. If I remember correctly, on that show, I defeated Mr. Destroyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who, under a hood, would later become my tag team partner.
Damien says, okay, bring on Ricky.
Thanks,
for
Damien.
2 weeks from now. By the way, Ricky, just an update on Ricky Henry, the Canary Kid. He, he went to Canada. He's spending time with his family over there. And he was able to have a match with one of the prominent leagues over there in Canada, in Ottawa.
Good for him.
Yeah, so he had a I don't know how the match all went, but he posted some pictures from it. So that's pretty cool. Another thing I have coming up in the works too, that is his arch nemesis in the ring, John McCann. I'm going to have him as a guest here too. He's like a couple years older than Ricky's, like 18, but I think he'd be a great interview, and I really want to have him on forward as well. So that's another guy I'm going to have come on. And Ricky's got another person that I think he's 16 or 17 or whatever that's in the training program and stuff that's up and coming, and he says he would make a great guest for me too. So that's probably another one I'll bring in. So I got some guys in the works.
And one piece of advice I'm going to give to these guys when they're coming in is it's okay to slip in and out of character, but don't do the whole show in character.
Right.
Also show your real side. I mean, I know I get goofy sometimes here on the show, but it's only to have fun.
Yeah, like sometimes we get guys that come on forward and they start getting into character a little bit, and that's fine. But remember, this ain't the kayfabe days,
right?
So, but yeah, and like I just kind of want to double down though on that. Like we watched the show today. Was the wrestling very textbook? Hell no. We were still learning the ropes here in developing.
We were very green.
Yeah, all of us. I mean, even myself. I mean, I watched those matches and I could do so much better. But we had a platform for all of us kids to come on and be a part of it that was unlike anything that was going on ever. So the kids that were all a part of this, they didn't give two shits if we were polished. They just wanted to be a part of it. And people that watched the show that were entertained with it, they were, the style of wrestling and old school in those days, 40 years ago, they weren't looking at textbook perfect moves, because that's not how the world of wrestling was working then. Not everybody was a perfect match. You had a lot of what I call sloppy old school style matches.
Right.
So we kind of fit into the. Yeah, it was the era, guys. So don't look at this. I always say that because I don't want people that come in that have the fresh look of professional wrestling today and look, my gosh, you guys aren't, you're not. This is not. You're not clean. You're not crisp. It wasn't clean and it wasn't crisp back in those days. And that's the part people kind of forget. So, and we're pretty proud of what we accomplished, really, right, Dave?
Exactly. I mean, it's like Crusher and I discussed earlier today, and I'll freely admit this. Was my win-loss record great in the NWF? No. Hell no.
Yeah.
But like Crusher said, my heart was in the company.
Yeah.
I
can count in one hand who had their heart in it the most, and Dave's in my one hand. He's one of the guys that were 110% all in. Dave, just so you understand, guys, we were talking about it last week. Guys tested Dave. They would get stiff with him in the ring, trying to make it rough for him so he wouldn't come back. And
you know what, folks?
they kept coming back. I remember Dave being bruised. Remember this, Dave? You had bruises on after matches, just bruised up. And I even mentioned it in some of the videos that with the Saturday afternoon special. I got some of the stuff on video. I said, Dave, you're bruised up like I used to jokingly say, Dave, you're bruised up like an apple, And, but Dave would never quit. He just kept coming back. And this is why Dave's in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So it's not a matter of your win-loss record. It was your commitment,
Well,
really.
From me getting into the Hall of Fame, it was my commitment and the fans seeing that I was committed to the company and them giving me their vote of confidence.
Yeah.
That's what got me into the Hall of Fame. It wasn't me whining and saying, oh, I deserve it.
Right.
It was me saying, hey, I'll admit I wasn't the greatest, but whatever was best for the company.
Yeah. Anytime somebody thinks that, I've never asked for the votes when it comes to Hall of Fame. I was, the first year we did it, I got voted in. But like for the tag team thing, I never pushed myself. I just let the votes come the way they are, and in fact, I'm going to share you guys a little secret. The reason I put myself in 2 teams and put 2 teams in the Hall of Fame for tag teams was because I was trying to keep myself from getting voted in. I hate to say that to my partner, Jeff Dinsmore and Matt Kelsey, but I was trying to make it because I knew if I put myself in once, just because of the name recognition, I would probably, take the votes, and I didn't want that. That's why I put myself in twice. That's just my way of thinking, guys. Not that I don't appreciate being in the Hall of Fame. I just don't. I look at this everybody in the NWF's my family, right? As running the league. So for you guys to get in is like me getting in. That makes sense?
Exactly. Yeah, well, it's like I said when we did the Hall of Fame show. Terry said I was responsible for him coming in.
Yeah.
I know I brought Jamie into it. So the same year I go in, 2 of the people I brought in get inducted.
Yeah.
It's like I said then, it was a proud papa moment.
Yeah. And I'm just happy seeing everybody get in. And what made me really happy with the Hall of Fame when we all got together in Anoka and we had that really good lunch. We got together for lunch.
That was a blast. I mean,
that part was great. I
hate to plug it, but no, I am going to plug it. I'm going to say whenever we do a get together, I say, seeing that all the old school haunts in Anoka are gone, Sparky's has been around forever.
Yeah.
And if any of our viewers are in Minnesota, Sparky's Cafe in Anoka, Minnesota, go in there before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You'll get an awesome meal.
Yeah. It's good old, like home style cooking.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think that if we have get-togethers, or shall we say NWF reunions?
Well, on Wrestling Revolution Keaton, I just did last Sunday, they encouraged us that for NWF, we should have more of those.
Yeah.
Because something, as we get older, we start losing people. We're going to wish we did.
I was discussing this with my fiance. if you think about it, the NWF has already lost, what, 3 alumni?
Yeah, 3 of them
2
that I
or
know
3
of.
alumni.
Yeah. Roughhouse Roberts about 20 years ago.
Yep. Luscious Larry.
Okay, there's 4 then. Luscious Larry, heart attack.
Yep.
And then there was Terrific Tim, who passed away with complications, just medical,
Yep.
you know, internal medical stuff, you know, just health-wise, you know, nothing. And then Dr. Destruction Chad Rancor, which we don't know what happened exactly there, but it was a sad situation. No longer with us.
Yep.
So yeah,
So that's
it's like
4 alumni gone.
Yeah.
So my message to the NWF alumni: it's been 40 years since the NWF started. Whether you have fond memories of the NWF or whether you've left the NWF on bad terms, whatever the case may be, let's plan a get-together.
Yeah. Yeah, next time we come into town, or I come into town and we can make it work. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, worst case scenario, you know, we can do small little get-togethers. Crusher and I, we're more than happy to get together with individuals for a photo op.
Yeah.
But I'm saying for like a big group alumni reunion, I'd love to see an all eras reunion.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know it's tough to do, but I say we should do it.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Worst case scenario, 2026 is coming up. You know, 2026 would be a good time to do it.
The anniversary of the Armory year?
Yep, the anniversary of the beginning of the Armory.
Yeah.
And if we were to do it in late July, early August of that year, I know it hasn't been officially announced, but I've looked into it. People can look it up themselves. The WWF, August 1st and 2nd, is doing SummerSlam in Minneapolis at US Bank Stadium.
Yeah, I know you mentioned
that. It's a 2-day event.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's been fun. Like, it's fun now that we're doing the shows all cleaned up. I really like seeing these shows.
Right.
Nice and clean.
To our viewers, if you want to see it in the full 1080p, join the Video Network. You don't have to listen to me babble.
Yep, you just got to go to nwfwrestling.org and go to the Video Network, and you can learn all about it. I know a lot of people are kind of holding off on doing it because they want more videos in there. And somebody asked too on the channel, are we going to make them downloadable? So can people download them to add to their collection? Because a lot of people have that, you know, I think we got a few. I don't know if Gizmo was one of them that was part of my DVD of the Month Club, and I had other people that were part of that, and they would like to get the new shows now cleaned up to add to their collection as downloads. Well, I have to kind of wait for it to get enough subscribers to make the network at least break even, and then I can look at entertaining downloads. But for right now, I'm going to keep it just subscription and rental. But you know, down the line, maybe do downloads. But I need to be able to just do subscriptions for the time being. But yeah.
And you know, if anybody is wanting DVDs, I can talk to Crusher about maybe putting a special out on DVDs. We can get you the Armory DVDs. We can get you the documentary.
Yeah.
And we might even be able to get them autographed for you.
Yeah.
So, seeing that I just plugged that, I think what we should do is maybe call it a week.
Yep.
You'll see everybody next week on Fast Forward. You'll see them in 2 weeks on Rewind.
Yeah. So
and I'll be back in 4 weeks.
And I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and we will see you in, Dave, it'll be about a month, but we will see everybody else, and I'll see you guys next week with Joe Bird and Pure Pro Wrestling, and then in 2 weeks, it'll be me and Jeff Dinsmore for sure, and who knows who else is going to join us for the watch-along, which we'll do on that, what we've seen the preview of today, which will be that the debut of Yoho Municipal, our first outdoor taping. Yeah, it'll be fun. All right, guys. We will
So
see
for
you.
this week, it's been a good show. Crusher will see you next week, and then again in 2 weeks. I'll see you in 4 weeks.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys then. And also don't forget
Peace.
Wrestling Revolution Keaton every other Sunday.
Yep.
As well.
Don't forget about Keaton, folks.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one.